The teacher who lost everything for 2 words. Imagine waking up one morning as a beloved educator with 14 years of experience, respected by your colleagues, adored by your students. Now imagine going to bed that same night knowing your entire career has been destroyed. Not because you hurt anyone, not because you failed at your job, but because you typed 2 words on your personal Facebook page. 2 words. That's all it took. This is the story of James Heidorn, and what happened to him should terrify every single one of us, regardless of where we stand politically. Because this isn't just about one teacher in one school district. This is about something far more dangerous happening in America right now, something that threatens the very foundation of free speech and personal liberty. Let me take you inside what really happened, because the details of this case will shock you. James Heidorn wasn't just any teacher. He was a physical education instructor at Gary Elementary School in West Chicago, Illinois. For 14 years, he showed up every single day. He built relationships with hundreds of students from all different backgrounds. He coached, he mentored. He was the kind of teacher kids looked forward to seeing. Parents trusted him with their children. His record was spotless. West Chicago is a predominantly Hispanic community, and Heidorn taught in this diverse environment for over a decade without a single complaint about discrimination, bias, or inappropriate behavior. Remember that detail, because it matters. This wasn't a teacher who had a history of making students uncomfortable or treating anyone differently based on their background. This was an educator with 14 years of building trust, day by day, student by student. Then came late January. A local police department announced they would cooperate with ICE Immigration and Customs Enforcement. A news article was posted about it, and on his personal Facebook page, not the school's page, not a public forum, but his own private social media account, James Heidorn commented, he typed 2 words, "Go ICE." That's it. 2 words expressing personal support for law enforcement. What happened next reveals something deeply disturbing about the state of free speech in America today. Local activists discovered the post and began sharing it across social media. The outrage machine kicked into high gear. Within days, Heidorn's private comment became a public scandal. On Thursday, January 22nd, school administrators called him in. They told him they'd noticed the scale of social media discussions about his post. He met with human resources. The pressure was immense. He briefly resigned that same day, then took it back hours later. The school told him he could return to teaching the following Monday while they conducted an investigation. But here's where things get really interesting. The investigation never got a chance to run its course. Democratic Illinois State Senator Karina Villa, who had previously been filmed chasing ICE agents down the street, publicly expressed her outrage. She declared she stood in unwavering solidarity with families upset by what she called the educator's troubling remarks. A sitting state senator was now publicly condemning a teacher before any investigation had concluded. Then the mayor got involved. Mayor Daniel Bovee of West Chicago posted a Facebook video that Saturday, before the investigation was complete, explaining why Heidorn's words were hurtful and offensive to many in the community. Think about that timing. The investigation hadn't finished. Due process hadn't played out. But a government official was already publicly declaring this teacher's words to be problematic. In his video, the mayor said something that reveals the entire mindset at play here. He talked about how these are trusted adults caring for children when they can't be with their parents, and seeing someone casually cheering on events that traumatized these children was the problem. He compared Heidorn's 2-word comment to cheering at a football game. But here's what nobody asked. Did Heidorn actually traumatize any children? Had he ever said anything inappropriate to a student? Had he ever treated a student differently because of their background? Had he ever brought his political views into the classroom? The answer to all of those questions is no. Not once in 14 years. Over that weekend, parents encouraged each other online to keep their kids home in protest. Community members began piling on with criticism. The school district organized a listening session on January 26th, complete with a Spanish interpreter, where various parents and residents expressed their concerns. One woman claimed children didn't feel safe because of the post. Another called it cruel. Children didn't feel safe because their PE teacher had typed 2 words on his personal Facebook page supporting law enforcement. Let that sink in for a moment. These children had been taught by this man for years. Many of them loved him. He'd never done anything to make them feel unsafe. But now, because adults told them they should be afraid, suddenly they were traumatized. Heidorn tried to explain his perspective. He told anyone who would listen that this started as a 2-word comment on his personal Facebook page in support of law enforcement. Nothing more. It wasn't directed at any student, any family member, or any member of the school community. But it didn't matter. The mob had decided he was guilty. Under intense pressure, facing public condemnation from politicians and community activists, stripped of the chance to defend himself through proper procedures, James Heidorn resigned a second time, rather than be fired. He lost his career. He lost his income. And perhaps most painfully, he lost the ability to say goodbye properly to his students. No farewell, no closure, just gone. The school district called his post disruptive and said it caused disruption for students, families, and staff. But who really caused the disruption? Was it the teacher who made a 2-word comment on his personal page? Or was it the activist, the senator, the mayor, and the parents who whipped up a frenzy of outrage over those 2 words? Now here's where the hypocrisy becomes impossible to ignore. In recent weeks, teachers across the country have taken to the streets, causing actual disruptions for far-left causes. In Chicago specifically, teachers stormed a Target store and harassed employees to protest President Donald Trump's immigration policies. Did they face consequences? Did they lose their jobs? No. The local school districts took no action against them. Let me repeat that because it's critical. Teachers who physically disrupted a business and harassed workers faced 0 consequences. But a teacher who typed 2 words on his personal Facebook page lost his career. When Fox News Digital asked the school district what rule Heidorn had violated, and whether teachers who publicly disrupt ICE operations would be treated the same way, the district didn't respond. That silence speaks volumes. Heidorn himself sees the double standard clearly. He said he feels there are 2 different sets of rules, because his viewpoint differs from others in the community where he taught. He believes we should all be able to coexist while respecting each other's personal political views. Fairness must be applied equally, regardless of those views. If personal political speech is grounds for discipline, it must be enforced consistently, not selectively based on political affiliation. But that's not what happened, and it's not what's happening across America right now. Mayor Bovee, when asked for comment, pushed back against the idea that his Facebook video inflamed the situation. He said he personally wishes the teacher good luck. Then he laid out what he considers the democratic process. The teacher exercised his right to free speech. Others exercised their right to comment. The school board followed proper procedure to investigate a situation that disrupted children's education. The public exercised their right to comment. And the teacher decided to resign. That's how democracy works, according to the mayor. But that's not how democracy works. That's how mob rule works. Democracy doesn't mean government officials publicly condemn someone before an investigation concludes. Democracy doesn't mean people lose their livelihoods for expressing personal political opinions. Democracy doesn't mean selective enforcement of rules based on which political tribe you belong to. What the mayor described is actually the opposite of democratic values. It's the tyranny of the majority. It's cancel culture in action. It's the deliberate destruction of someone's life for wrongthink. The mayor also claimed that despite many hateful comments from people across the country who were misinformed by social media, the local community seemed remarkably united. United against what? United against a teacher who served them faithfully for 14 years? United in the belief that 2 words on Facebook justify destroying someone's career? James Heidorn is now left to pick up the pieces of his shattered life. The emotional toll has been devastating. He describes it as a surreal roller coaster. He feels immense shock, profound loss, and overwhelming sadness at being cut off from daily contact with his students. He's angry and frustrated at how quickly things spiraled without real dialogue. He's deeply saddened that he couldn't say goodbye properly to the children who mean so much to him. He's had sleepless nights. But he's trying to focus on his family and the support he's received from those who truly know him, because that's the other side of this story. While activists and politicians destroyed his career, people who actually knew Heidorn rallied to his defense. A GoFundMe page was launched, describing him as a beloved PE teacher who was always there for his students. The loss goes beyond just the teaching position. Heidorn also lost his coaching job at a nearby private school. One Facebook post cost him both of his jobs, both of his income streams, both of the ways he contributed to young people's lives. One of the most painful aspects for Heidorn is losing the relationships he'd built with students from all backgrounds over his long career. These weren't superficial connections. These were real bonds formed over years of showing up, caring, teaching, and supporting these kids. If he could speak directly to his students, Heidorn says he would tell them that the online outrage doesn't reflect the whole reality. It's just background noise from people who don't actually know him. He wants his students to know he cares deeply about them and always has. The person they knew in class, the one who encouraged them, played with them, and supported them, is still the same person. He says he always did his utmost to provide the best learning environment and atmosphere for growth. He always cared about their well-being with passion, support, attention, and safety, regardless of circumstances. He never wanted them to feel unsafe or unloved. They're wonderful kids, and he's proud of every moment spent together. Then comes the most heartbreaking part. He acknowledges he can't change the minds of those who are angry, upset, and have lost trust in him. He's sorry for that because he always cared about his students and the community's well-being, and he never intended to scare or harm them or their families. Read that again. A teacher who never harmed anyone, who never brought politics into his classroom, who served faithfully for 14 years, is apologizing for supposedly scaring children by typing 2 words on his personal Facebook page. This is what modern cancel culture does. It forces good people to apologize for crimes they didn't commit. It makes them grovel for forgiveness they shouldn't have to seek. It destroys their confidence and makes them question their own basic right to have personal political opinions. Looking to the future, Heidorn faces enormous challenges. He'll have to inform any future school districts where he applies about his resignation and provide the specific reasons. That's going to make continuing his career in the region nearly impossible. Who's going to hire a teacher who was forced out for political speech, even if that political speech was perfectly legal and appropriate? The devastating reality is that Heidorn doesn't know what the future holds. Until now, teaching has been his calling. It's the only field he studied. Teaching has defined him. He even pursued a master's degree in education management because he wanted to be the best teacher possible. He put in the work. He invested in his career. He did everything right. Now he's exploring options in education or related fields, but he's also taking time to rebuild himself and learn from this experience. He expresses deep gratitude for the unwavering support from everyone who reached out, donated, or shared his story. It reminds him that most people value justice and the possibility of a second chance. But here's the question we all need to ask. Should he even need a second chance? What did he do that requires redemption? Support law enforcement? Express a political opinion on his personal social media? Heidorn maintained throughout his 14-year career that he took his role extremely seriously. His reputation was built on showing up daily, being reliable, treating everyone fairly, and genuinely caring about his students' progress. Student success was his primary motivation. He never mixed politics with teaching. His students were always his priority. So, what really happened here? Did a teacher traumatize children? Or did adults weaponize children's emotions to destroy someone they disagreed with politically? The answer is obvious. Those children were fine until adults told them they should be afraid. They loved their PE teacher until activists decided that teacher's personal political views made him dangerous. They felt safe in his classroom for years until a mob decided to make them feel unsafe. This is psychological manipulation of children for political purposes, and it's absolutely disgusting. But the implications go far beyond one teacher in one school district. This case represents a much larger threat to freedom in America. If you can lose your career for expressing mainstream political opinions on your personal social media, then free speech is dead. If supporting federal law enforcement agencies makes you unemployable, then we've crossed into authoritarian territory. The selective enforcement is particularly chilling. Teachers can storm businesses and harass workers for left-wing causes with no consequences. But express support for ICE, and you're done. That's not justice. That's political persecution. And it's happening everywhere. Teachers, professors, corporate employees, small business owners, anyone with any public profile, they're all walking on eggshells, terrified that one wrong word, One unpopular opinion, one moment of expressing their genuine beliefs will result in their complete destruction. This is not how free societies function. This is how authoritarian regimes operate. Control speech, control thought, control behavior through fear of collective punishment. Make examples of people who step out of line, so everyone else stays silent. The truly disturbing part is how quickly it all happened. One Facebook post on a Thursday, a meeting with administrators, pressure from a state senator, a video from the mayor, a weekend of online mobbing, a listening session where people declared children felt unsafe, and within days, a 14-year career was over. No thorough investigation, no due process, no chance to defend himself properly, just mob justice, swift and merciless. James Heidorn's story is a warning. It's a warning about what happens when we abandon the principles of free speech and fair treatment. It's a warning about the danger of allowing political conformity to be enforced through economic destruction. It's a warning about a society that values ideology over individuals. This could happen to anyone. You could be next. One post, one comment, one expression of the wrong political opinion, and your life could be destroyed, your career gone, your reputation ruined, your relationships severed, all because you dared to think differently than the mob. The question is, what are we going to do about it? Are we going to sit back and watch as more James Heidorns are sacrificed on the altar of political correctness? Or are we going to stand up and say enough is enough? Because if we don't fight back against this insanity, if we don't defend the right of people to express personal political opinions without losing their livelihoods, then we're all complicit in the death of freedom in America. 2 words cost James Heidorn everything. How many words will it take before they come for you?